Welcome to Backstage with Becca B, with special guest Amanda Kruger. Hi everyone, welcome to my second episode of Backstage with Becca B. If you've seen any of my Instagram videos from Rockwell, you've probably seen this next guest in a few of them. She's a Rockwell regular and definitely a Rockwell favorite. She has been since 2017 when she did Home Alone. So please welcome Amanda Kruger.
Yeah. So good to see you.
Good to see you too. I miss theater and everything.
Me too.
I miss performing, so yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I miss seeing perform and posting videos on Instagram and stuff and YouTube.
Yeah, I bet.
So, yeah.
Well, it's good we get to see each other then in this weird time.
Right? In this virtual reality.
I know.
Or something. Whatever this is. I don't know. What's
Who knew that Zoom was going to be the thing to connect us all?
It's crazy. I didn't even know what Zoom was like 8 months ago. But
me neither.
Yeah, it was like a childhood TV show for me.
Right? For real. Oh, I remember that show.
So you've performed at Rockwell since 2017-ish?
Yep.
Yeah? Okay.
Yeah, Home Alone was my first one. Yeah.
Okay, so when was the first time you heard of Rockwell? Was it like when you got cast for Home Alone or when you auditioned?
Kind of, but not really. No, I did like a cabaret performance at Rockwell back when the wall was still up. So that was the first time I'd ever been in the space. And then I had an audition for the record, Baz Luhrmann, that I didn't go to because I was sick. But I knew it was like, and that's when they were doing them there. And then what did I see? I think I saw Devil Wears Prada. And I was like, this is the best thing I've ever seen ever. I want to do this so badly. I was close with someone with, I don't know if you ever met Kaylin Adine, but he was a stage manager there and he understudied in Prada. So I must have seen Prada like 5 times. I saw Lana as Andy. I saw Kelly Jekyll as Andy. I saw Rumor Willis as Andy. I saw Kaylin step in for the Stanley Tucci role. Like, I went over and over again because I was obsessed.
It was so good.
And so I asked Kaylin, I was like, how do I, because we worked together at Don't Tell Mamas. I was like, how do I get in on this? Like, please somebody help me. And he was like, look, they hire a lot of the same people over and over again. He was like, but I'll send you their stuff, or I'll send them your stuff. So I think then, I don't know if there was like another show that happened that I was like, when did those auditions happen? I don't remember what was in between, but then I know True Beverly Hills auditions came up and he was like, they said you can self-tape. So I did. I don't think they watched it. I was super bummed out. Then I went to Bridesmaids auditions because those ones they were having in person for the first time ever. Like, I think they were usually just casting people that they'd worked with. So I went to Bridesmaids. I got called back for Natalie Lander's part and didn't book it, obviously. And I was like so excited because I was so close, and then no cigar. So I wasn't going to go anymore because I was like, I'm done with the disappointment. It's obviously not meant for me. I want it so bad, but it's not happening. And I went to Home Alone because I was like, okay, one more time. I'll go one more time. And I got called back for Kevin. And for the role, I think I ended up playing. And I kind of let go of it. I didn't think I got it. And then I was at my husband's birthday party. He was my then boyfriend. And I got an email that I think I was going to be the understudy for the role I ended up playing. And I think the person who maybe got offered it first didn't want it. I think. So I got another email quickly after that was like, actually, just kidding. You're going to do it. You can do it if you want it. And I was like, are you kidding? Absolutely. I want to do it. I want to do it. I want to do it. I'll do anything you say. I'm just so happy to be here. So that's how I got into Rockwell. It took many years.
Hey, kept on going and auditioning and
something about it was calling my soul. I was like, I have to be here.
Oh, and now you're regular. that
yeah,
we
now I
all
get to
the
do it a
time.
lot.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I was introducing you earlier as a Rockwell favorite, so I
Oh,
was
thanks, girl.
yeah.
It's my favorite place, so it's very nice to know that it's reciprocated.
So much talent there. So
I mean, that's the amazing thing. And like right away, working on Home Alone, you know, I knew Greg Neighbors already because we did cabaret shows together a lot. So I knew him going into it, so like I was comfortable. But then I became close with Kate, whom I adore, and then and I worked with Marty Thomas, who's obviously got a great resume. And he was just really supportive and kind of like gave me the confidence to know that like I was doing a good job and like I had a good work ethic. And I covered both Noelle and Sarah Walters' parts. I covered both bandits, but I never went on for them. So it was also like a really great kind of introduction into how to swing, how to cover other roles. That's something I'd never done before, and now I've done it a few times.
So did you like have all those parts memorized too?
I did, yeah, I did.
My goodness.
I worked with 2 different scripts, so I had like my script for playing the 12 million little bit parts here and there, and I just had to have like a flight plan of like, okay, I go here and then I go there and I pick up this to bring with me here because if I don't, I'm going to be screwed for the rest of the time. So like and that's just something I think all Rockwell performers feel, which is like for that space, you have to know where you're going and what you need once you get there. Is it already there? Do you have to bring it with you from somewhere else? Versus like, I think a proscenium stage where you like go off one side and you come on one side, or, you know, it's, I think, or you know, you go around the back and you can come on no problem. This is like, because of all the tables and people, you could get really screwed and the short time period. And if you don't have that wig, which has happened to all of us at least once, you got to like figure out a way to improvise. Grab somebody else's wig. So yeah, and then I worked with another script that had Noelle and Sarah's characters, the 2 bandits in it. But that was easier to cover because they were always together. So it was just a matter of like knowing what they had to say more than it was like having to have 2 different flight plans in my head, if that made sense. Like they never were not in the same space at the same time versus covering 2 different roles that are doing different things, like in Scissorhands. That was a little bit harder.
Yeah, I've always been curious as to like how you all fit so much in your head when you're playing so many different parts. It's just, it's crazy to me.
There's definitely times when I'm like, I don't think it's possible. There's no more room left in the noggin. I don't think I'll get it in there. And somehow it gets in there. So
I've always been good with names, but like, I don't think I could memorize like 20 different parts.
You'd be surprised what your brain will be capable of if the alternative is like screwing up and letting other people down in a way. Like, I mean, I guess that's kind of how I operate. I'm like, I don't want to let anyone down. Like, I just want to do a good job. So like, it's like survival. Like my brain has to remember things so I don't like let down my director or my castmates or whatever. And I don't know, for me, the repetition of it, I think like the more you rehearse it or the more you hear it or the more you see it, it just starts to stick the same way like we remember favorite lines from favorite movies or like, you know, favorite songs or whatever. It's just like the more you listen to it, the more it's like, but everybody's different. Some people need to like see it. I like to listen to it, and it helps to watch the shows if you're going on for somebody different, I guess, and you don't have the rehearsal time. But the more you go through your rehearsal and the more you read it and the more you do it, the more it just kind of sticks in there, I guess. I think. I hope.
And what about improv? Does like it get easier as you go?
Yeah, it's funny. I would not consider myself somebody who's like particularly like as improv strong. Like I've never taken, I think I took like 1 class at UCB, hated it, wasn't my jam. I feel like when I started at Rockwell with Home Alone, improv was how a lot of these shows were made. Around that time is when they were trying to actually stick to a script and not go off the cuff too much, which works for me as a performer. But it's also like we have some incredible comedic talent in that place. Like when Eric Peterson was in Stranger Things and Ryan O'Connor, always in all the things that he does. I mean, like just some of these like creative brains that are constantly coming up with like witticisms and fun, playful opportunities. I think what they were just trying to do was like tame it down so that it didn't vary too much like day to day and didn't go on for too long. It was just like containing it. I struggle with that because I'll break. Like if like with Ryan, it was because we were both like old people in Home Alone at one point, and I never knew what he was gonna do, but I loved it. You know, like it's just like he kind of inducted me into the idea of like Rockwell is its own animal. And this kind of thing is going to happen. And can you hang? And sometimes yes. And sometimes I would just like burst into laughter. I enjoy the comedy as much as the audience does, unfortunately. And so I find it hard. Garrett Clayton used to get me too all the time in Stranger Things. He would just make this face as who is the guy? It's Nancy, it's Steve. He would make this face as Steve. And I would just be like I couldn't, I would just be like staring right at him like
stop.
I know. I'm like, think of something sad.
I mean, whenever I've gotten like pulled on stage at one of these by you all, it's like I lose it. I crack up, and I'm like, I don't know how y'all do it.
I don't either. Apparently.
Growing up, did you always picture yourself getting involved in theater?
Oh yeah. I mean, I was singing and putting on shows in my house and acting from the time I could walk. I mean, when I was like I was always singing, and I think that's because my mom would sing in the house. She's very shy about her voice and she won't sing now, but when I was growing up, I remember her playing the Chorus Line soundtrack or Annie. I remember her singing to me as like a baby-ish. I mean, that's a fuzzy memory because do we have memories as babies? But like, I'm debatable. And then I'd always put on costumes. And by the time I was like in first grade and I'd seen like a high school theater production of Guys and Dolls. And then in second grade, my family took me to see Phantom of the Opera for the first time. But the minute I saw Guys and Dolls, my friend and I would put on the whole musical by ourselves. So I'm one of those freaks that's always known I wanted to be an actress or actor. I prefer actor, but like I've always known I want to be an actor. Always. No question. At one point I thought maybe I would be a horse trainer for the circus. Didn't pan out. So here we are.
Well, I saw that because I was looking at resumes and I saw that on your resume and I was like, oh, what?
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff I've done. I have not had by any means the trajectory that like one dreams of when they're like, I'm going to be an actor one day. Like it's been a lot of, I don't want to say the word struggle because I think that makes it sound so unaccomplished, because I do feel like I've accomplished a lot. It's just not necessarily like I haven't been on Broadway yet, haven't been on TV as much as I'd like, haven't been in a major studio film yet, so like things like that we quantify as like accomplishments. If I say I don't have those, I think it sounds so negative because there's so much I've learned and there's so much I've done that I'm so grateful to have done, and so many people I've worked with that I'm so grateful to have worked with. So I won't say it's been a struggle, but I will say it's been a lot of determination, and I think a lot of tenacity is the word I like to use. Like the idea that like even when things get really hard, that this runs through my blood, this is in my bones, and I can't not do it. So yeah, I think so. It's been a lot of having to have that. If that makes sense.
And there's no like right path for anything, so.
No, I don't think so. I mean, I'm like any artist, I beat myself up about not having done the things I want to do at this point, or I feel so far away from X, Y, Z. And I think it's really easy as artists for us to like harp so much on the thing we're working towards and forget the things that we've done. And so like, that's something, I try to remind myself often, especially with Rockwell, is there was a time when I would have given my right ear to like have been in one of those shows, even for 5 minutes. And now I've had an opportunity to do more than one, but it's hard because it's like, I'm never really satisfied, and I love it so much that it's like I always want more, but sometimes I have to remind myself to stop take a minute and be like, hey, remember when you didn't have all these things that you wanted really, really badly, and now you've gotten to play and have fun with these people who you respect so much? Like, that's pretty cool. And but it's like, you know, you have to stop yourself. So your brain's not like, but I haven't done this and I haven't done this. Like, slow down a minute, you know?
It's like a trying not to compare yourself to others type thing.
Oh my gosh, the biggest struggle for all people.
It'll literally kill you. Probably, so.
Yeah. It just feels like the worst.
So what has been your favorite role at Rockwell, and how many shows have you been in there now?
Ooh, okay. So I did Home Alone, and then bless Chad McMillan's sweetheart, somewhere in the craziness of all the weird characters I played in Home Alone, he saw a Janet. And so I got to do Rocky Horror, which was, I mean, we'll get back to that. So I did Rocky Horror, Home Alone, Jurassic Park, so bless Nathan Moore, because he didn't plan on casting a girl in that role either, but he saw my weird audition tape and was like, actually that works, so yay. And then I was the swing for Stranger Things. I covered Lana and I covered Kelly. I did just two shows of 10 Things I Hate About You, because Katie was away. And then I did League of Their Own. And then I covered all the female roles in Scissorhands. So it's like bits here and there. So I think officially I've done like 4 like contracts. And then I've like slipped into a few. Yeah. Yeah, because I like it. I mean, I won't dare to say that I'm the only one who enjoys it. I'm sure that there's many other people who also like it. Sometimes I am not the person that they use for that in particular thing, but I'd like to think that I've shown them that I can do it. And so I'm on the table for that discussion when they need someone to fulfill that particular skill set. Cause it's hard it's hard emotionally, it's hard mentally. Like, you know, you go on for one day and like, there's no amount of rehearsal time that's going to prepare you to step in to fulfill the choices that somebody else has kind of crafted when they've created a role. It's like your job is to deliver the same product. So you don't change the way the story's being told. You don't change, you know, the things the other actors are playing off of. You don't want to remove that, but you also need to find some of your own stuff a little bit so that you can live in it and not just be like a robot.
So it's natural.
I'm still learning how to do that, to be honest. Like sometimes I still walk off and I'm like, I think I was a robot. Like,
I can't tell that you're still learning how to do that.
Oh, thank you. Appreciate you.
Yeah, it seems professional to me, like all professional. So yeah, it is. It's working.
Good.
All the time.
Good. And then my favorite. Oh, so hard. That's so hard. It's got to be Kit, right? Like, I think it's got to be Kit. And then, so my favorite character, and I think my favorite, just like cast family, I think was League, because we really still are like a family. And maybe it's because it was a story about a team. And so we had to have that vibe. But it's we have group chats, and it's the group chat that's still like blows up all the time. And it was a time of, you know, things changing at Rockwell. So we all kind of went through that together. And and I just Kit was just like the teacher I needed in that moment, you know, like I think that's like obviously, you know, what I was just saying, where I'm like, oh, you know, it's not been easy. I feel like I have to really like stick with it, but I can't give it up because I love it so much. I think that's Kit, you know? So it was also the character that was like already kind of closest to who I am as a human being. But there were elements of who she was as well, or of what that show taught me that I didn't necessarily bring to the table before I started, you know, to learn how to be a leader and to, you know, to take charge and kind of cheerlead people and like bolster the morale of a group. I think we all took that mantle a little bit at some point, you know, to just like, I don't know, just champion each other. It was a bunch of like, I won't just say women, because I think the guys in the cast did it just as much, but it was a bunch of people just like continually lifting each other up. And I think that's just got to do with like, and I mean, that's part of who Emma is, first of all. If you've ever met or spent time with Emma, like Emma's always lifting up other people. That's like her gift. She's so wonderful at it. And so since that was our director, it made sense that then we all kind of caught that a little bit. And then it just caught on like wildfire, and it became like the spirit of the show, and it was really, really special. And then I think Rocky Horror was really special too. I really love Rocky as an experience, as a cast. It was obviously kind of a guerrilla production in that like it wasn't totally a parody. We didn't totally have permission. Like it was just lightning in a bottle. It was, I mean, I'm also like on a sentimental note, like Rocky Horror Picture Show and Rocky Horror Show have been a huge part of my growing up in theater, of my growing up and craving a queer theater space. Like so many parts of Rocky have been so special and integral to me in my life. And I think that's a lot of people who love that show so much can say the same thing. Like it's a cult film, but it's like, it's a lifestyle to be like a Rocky Horror person. So like, I mean, before we even started rehearsal, I knew that whole show front to back. I knew it. Like I could have told you anybody's lines. I know the callbacks. Like, I mean, I wrote a paper on it in college. I'm obsessed. So for me, being that I know so much about that show and I love it so much, I'm also highly critical of productions and shadow casts and things that you see. And I think Chad, who is our director, also really loves Rocky like so much and just understood the nuances of these characters and the things that would make it more magical than anything you'd ever seen before. And then that coupled with an immersive space, it was very special. I mean, hello, like what a cast. Like, oh my God, I love all those people so much. I'm in awe of that level of talent. I just felt like I was like #blessed to be here. Like, you know, so excited that you asked me to do this. I don't know what you drank or smoked or whatever to give you that idea, but like, let's go with it. So happy to be here. And then, yeah, I mean, Neil Starkenberg and Frankie and Allie Mixner. And then that was, I think that was Mallory's first show choreographing for Rockwell. And then she went on to Jurassic Park. Yeah. So like, and then she's changed my life. I love her so much.
Yeah,
so all of it was just lightning in a bottle, very special. I miss it all the time. I think that would have been like the coolest staple to have, like a quarterly midnight Rocky at Rockwell, but it's tricky to get the rights for that one. And
yep. But I mean, Rockwell is like the place that I actually got introduced to Rocky, I think.
Oh, really?
Surprisingly.
Yeah.
I think maybe Glee first, but it was like back when I was too young.
I can't believe I'd never seen one of the Rockwell Rockies live. Like I'd seen photos from it because, you know, I think just through Kaylin's social media and, you know, other people that I knew that knew people that were in it. And, because I've known Jordan Kai Burnett for a really long time too. And I know she used to do it a lot. I think she used to be Columbia quite a bit. So, I mean, I knew it was happening. I just I guess I never made it. I think it was always only on New Year's. And so I probably wasn't in LA or whatever the case may be. I always missed it, but.
Yeah, it was the one I went to first was on New Year's Eve, I think.
Yeah.
And I came back to LA for it. And I was like, I want to go to a show on New Year's. So I'm going back to LA. Sorry, fam. Peace.
Bye.
Yeah.
Fair. It's a really good time. Although I will say I thoroughly enjoyed the Cherry Poppins New Year's show this year. I really liked that. Was really, really fun.
I didn't go to the New Year's one, but I went to one of the ones earlier that month.
Yeah. Maybe probably the Nightmare Before Christmas. That one was really good too.
Yeah. That one.
Yes.
If you could suggest the next movie that Rockwell turns into a musical, what would it be?
Oh, I really want them to do I would love for them to do Labyrinth or Princess Bride, which I know have been suggested before. I think both of those would be amazing. I'm trying to think of other, because I think I really love when they do kind of retro movies, you know, from the 90s. I loved Never Been Kissed at the Rockwell. Loved it. Couldn't believe the energy of that show, the stamina of all the dancing and it was just like, once that show started, it was like, it did not stop. And I loved that. But, so yeah, I would say like something like that. I mean, it's hard to do something like She's All That because you've kind of already done it with like Devil Wears Prada and Never Been Kissed. It's like, it gets tricky because some of those movies, like they're all kind of very similar, which is why I think it would be cool to do like a fantasy 80s movie like Labyrinth, like Princess Bride, that has a huge like kind of nerd following, because it would be very different from anything they've ever done. So I think that'd be really cool.
I'd be down. I actually haven't seen either of those, but I haven't seen a lot of movies that have been turned into musicals. And
Right.
then I go and watch the movies after I see the musical, which is really fun. But then I start like inserting the songs that are supposed to be in certain scenes and the scenes in my head. And I'm like, why isn't this playing in the back? You know?
Right.
Yeah.
I think either of those would be really cool. I think, I mean, I also really love what Bradley did with Scissorhands, where it was like not quite a parody. So I would love to see another one of those, you know, that has like a really kind of important message, has a lot of heart, and it, even though it's like kind of a movie from, you know, the 90s or the 80s, the story it kind of evokes something that we're all going through right now, which is what I feel like, you know, was done with Scissorhands. And yeah, so I mean, definitely like something, I think, sometimes I think almost like making a parody out of movies that are already funny can be really tricky, because it's like, how do you make funny on top of funny, which is why I thought Jurassic Park was really fun and Stranger Things was really fun, because then we can poke fun at like these like plot holes, or like, you know, things that don't make sense, or things that are just outlandish. Whereas I think, you know, with like even Home Alone, right? It's like the movie's already funny, so it's like, how do you find the jokes on top of the jokes? They always find a way, but I think it's like, that's why like I think the next one, I would like to see something that's like, it's Jaws, I think has been talked about too, would be really funny.
Oh yeah,
like,
I've heard about that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That'd be cool.
I'm glad I'm not the one writing them, because obviously I'm like, I don't know anything.
Since we've talked a lot about Rockwell, how would you describe it to someone who's never heard of it?
Ooh, I feel like I have to do that a lot. So I feel like I'm okay at it. I'm getting good at it. I would say that, first of all, it's a way to experience a show that's happening all around you. I also think it is the best way to see the top talent in this city. And I'm speaking mostly about the people that I share the stage with, because some of them have these incredible careers, but they have incredible talent to back it up. So it's not like you're seeing a show that's like milking a name just for the name. Like, you are seeing powerhouse talents that, you know, have been on Broadway or been on TV, and they're literally singing in your face. Like, there's no cheap seat in Rockwell. I think, you know, you go to a proscenium space, and sometimes what you can afford or what you can get is really far away from the stage, and you're like, I think that's like Julia Stiles, really teeny in Oleana. Like, you know, that kind of thing is like what makes Rockwell special to me, is that you can literally feel it happening like in your skin. It's like, it's so electric, it's so around you, it's so high energy, because you can't drop the energy when you're like in someone's face. You know, you don't have the luxury of distance to like cheat it a little because you're not feeling on that day. Like, you just have to like muster all the strength you have and all the adrenaline you have, and the audience feels it. And it's, I think, the most exciting form of theater.
Yeah, the audience participation is.
Oh yeah, that's always a fun one too. So you should warn people about that. I'm really bad about that. And then they're like, you didn't tell me, and I'm like,
yeah. But then they'll be like me, and they'll be like, no.
Yeah, I definitely have brought some people that I'm like, please don't bring that person up on stage. They will be very unhappy. Yeah.
Or just cover their face like me.
Right. Please don't look at me. Please don't look at me. We always look for those people, though. Yeah. You know, that's like the way to do it.
And I'm like, oh God.
Yeah.
So who is your musical theater idol or role model?
Emma Hunton.
Okay, that's a good answer.
I love her so much. I just think like, I'm like continually in awe of how amazingly talented she is on stage, and the choices she makes, and the presence and the energy, and I just love her. Yeah. I love her so much.
She stepped into like Never Been Kissed and like.
Oh my God, there's literally nothing that she can't do.
She was like, I don't know if I'm gonna do all or something. Like, I don't know if I have a bonus. I'm like,
I love her so much.
I'm like, you're so
the humility is what makes her so beautiful also. You know, like she's never walking around like she thinks she's better than anyone. She's always making you feel like you're the star. But she is a star and I love her so much. And I think she's definitely like, I'm like, if only I just want to make and sound and all the things.
When you're going in for an audition, how do you like normally prepare for it?
Oh my God, pee my pants? I don't know. I get the worst audition nerves ever. The worst audition nerves ever. I will tell you straight up, I don't actually care to audition for musical theater anymore because I actually can't handle the psychology of waiting in a room for a long period of time. I do always bring headphones now if I am auditioning for a musical that's, you know, Rockwell is like a safe space. Rockwell is my family. It doesn't mean I still don't get nervous. I still get so nervous. But it's almost like because people know what I'm capable of, I'm able to walk in with at least a little security that even if I eat shit, they know what I can do. And so they're not going to like be like, oh, this girl, what is she doing? Like, you know, that there's a trust there for me. But I get the most nerves. I get such terrible audition nerves. I always wear headphones because I don't want to hear what people are saying to each other. I don't want people, I mean, this sounds terrible, but not at Rockwell, but other auditions, I don't want people to talk to me. Because they may think they're saying something helpful, but it might actually like
get to your head,
cause me to spin out. Yeah. So I would say that's my routine. And I try to do something nice for myself after, because no matter what, I could give the best audition of my life. I'm still going to find something to pick apart because I'm really hard on myself and a control freak. So I try to do something nice after, like a burger or iced coffee or I don't know, whatever, something that like makes me go like, good job, that'll do, pig, you know?
Yeah,
like, you did it.
A reward.
You did this thing you didn't want to do, but you sucked it up, you went in there, and you probably won't love what you did, but you did it. Like,
you're gonna critique yourself, but it's fine.
Yes. And you know, this is something I know about myself, and it's something I know I have to work on. I have to let it go and leave it in the room. I am so terrible about like overanalyzing every little thing. And so I think part of like the getting of a something or of the doing of the something nice for myself afterwards is a way to say, okay, and now we close that and you can resume your life and try not to think about it because the worst part is the waiting.
Yeah, see, I feel like a lot of you performers are tough on yourself because like if you like think you messed up one thing, you think everyone heard it and it's like, what? I didn't hear it.
Oh yeah, it's like all I can remember. I know I can tell you the thing that I messed up in Scissorhands in December. Like I remember all of those things, but I'm terrible at remembering the things that I did right and well. And instead I'm like, oh God, that harmony, it wasn't really a harmony, Amanda.
And if you ask any audience members, they'd be like, what are you talking about?
Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. You can tell me I was brilliant. All I'll remember is that I sang the wrong harmony and ruined the whole show.
No.
But we do have to like work on, I mean, like I joke so much about it, but it's like, it's so easy to harp on the things that we don't do well. And I do think that, you know, the next levelness of it all and the way to get to the next level just energetically in your career is to give yourself a time limit. I can be sad about this for 5 minutes and then no more. I'm going to move on. I'm going to let it go, leave it in the room, whatever those things are, so that you can just trust that the work you've put in up until this point will carry you where you need to go, rather than just think like, oh, this one thing ruined everything. It's just not the case. It's never the case.
Yeah.
And like now I can hear this little voice that's like, Amanda, listen to yourself. You need to hear this. But like,
don't overthink it.
Exactly.
No,
overthinking.
No. With anything. If you could give your younger self advice, what would it be?
Work harder, date less, and stop and enjoy the moment. Like stop and just take it in and enjoy work harder, date less. Not to say that like you shouldn't date, but like personally, I mean, I just feel like I have grown to love the work so much that I just can't get enough of it. And I think when I was younger and I had work, I didn't enjoy the process in the same way. And it's like, that's the grown up advice, I think, is to go back in time and be like, yes, we want to have fun. Yes, this feels like something that just grows on trees and will keep coming all the time. There might be periods of time in which there's not a lot of it. And I think, you know, it's important to love it right then and there. And I think when we're young, we probably spend more time being anxious or focusing on something else that we think is more important, but really is very like temporal. And the work is always going to be the thing. The work is always going to be the thing that fills you, but it's not always going to be there. So when you have it, just, I love it so much.
If you could work with any actor or actress who you haven't worked with yet, who would it be? Whether it's Rockwell, anywhere.
Okay. I really have always wanted to work with Anthony Hopkins, like more than anything in the whole wide world. I love him. He's an absolute nut job. And I think he's my only celebrity crush. I just adore him. I think that's my big one. I'm trying to think like who else like I really, really love. I mean, I've thought a lot about like, you know, ironically, I don't love doing comedy when it comes to like the TV and film world, but I've always wanted to work with James Burrows because he's like a legend. So he was the creator of Cheers, and he, you know, directed a lot of Will and Grace and directed the pilot of Friends. So those are two biggies for me. I'm trying to think who else would I love to work with. I mean, I'd love to work with Bradley Bredewig again. I loved that experience so much. I grew so much. I learned so much from him, and he has just this very grounded and deep energy when he's, you know, working. I spent a lot of time on the sidelines watching him work with the other actors, and it's just like, you just know that you're going to get better through that process. So I would love to work with him again, I should say. It would be really cool.
He creates good stage movies, good shows,
the best.
Everything.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, even he should put you on his TV show.
I'm actually watching The Fosters for the first time ever, and
really?
I'm riveted. I can't believe I had never seen it before. It's just, and I'm like, how many issues have we tackled in this show so beautifully? And I'm still only in season 1. Like, I'm like, yeah. We've talked about trans issues. We've talked about police brutality already. And this is not right now. Like, that's the thing that I keep reminding myself, is that this show was on a few years ago, right?
Yeah, it's like
crazy. So good. So ahead of its time. Love.
Yeah, it's so good. What is still on your like bucket list theater-wise?
Theater-wise? Oh, I don't know. That is so interesting, because I feel like my bucket list for theater has kind of gone away. I mean, like I love theater. I love performing. I think I would love the opportunity to be on Broadway. I do know that it is the hardest job on the planet, like, to me, to do 8 shows a week in that kind of an audience with that amount of pressure and money riding on your back. I mean, whoa. So theater, that's tough. I don't know. I mean, I guess I would really love to do, I think, like one of the For the Record shows. I love those guys and I love what they're doing. I think it's really badass. I mean, I think, I think that, I guess, would be a bucket list item for me for theater. I mean, because like TV and film has always been primarily my focus since I graduated from school, I would say, you know, I would love to be a series regular on a TV show. But I think the more I think about it, the less it becomes about the position and the more it becomes about the content. I would really like to be a part of a show, any show, theater, TV, film, whatever, that does kind of what Scissorhands did, which is, I think, you know, take issues, particularly surrounding the queer community, particularly surrounding love and acceptance and differences and tolerance, and really just like open it up, you know, really like tear it open it up, and force people to think maybe about things they hadn't thought about before, to give them an understanding of something they might not have understood before, that's just going to collectively force people to come together even a little bit closer, even if it's just for 45 minutes, an hour and a half, 2 hours, whatever the case may be. I think that that's really special. So I'd love to be a part of more of that, you know, more of those things.
Yeah, that's the beautiful thing about like entertainment as a whole, is it's that like it's an escape for those watching for like 45 minutes, 2 hours, etc. How do you think live theater will be different when it's allowed to come back?
Oh, I try not to think about this too much because it really depresses me. I will tell you what, I'll go to the positive instead of the negative on this one. I think that live theater will be appreciated collectively in a new way. I think the performances you're going to see are going to have a rawness and a vigor and a survival to them that they've never had before, because, you know, not to say that we don't understand what it's like not to have work. As actors, I think all of us understand what it's like to go through a period of time without work. And it doesn't matter if it's a month or a year or 10 years, it hurts no matter what, because we love it and it's like your life's purpose. So you need to be doing it, you know? But I think this is, it's a collective waiting, you know, it's not like I'm not working, but you're working. It's like we are collectively sitting here with no way of doing this thing we love so much, with no way of having an audience right there. Because I know people, and we're doing, you know, Zoom performances, and I think it's so amazing, but the liveness of it all, I think when we all come together as this collective family, is going to be electric. I mean, and I think it will last that way for a long time, because I don't think this is something we'll ever forget.
Yeah, definitely. There's something just not right about watching a show take place on a Zoom call and like laughing at your computer or applauding at your computer, and there's no one else around to applaud with you or something like that.
But at the same time, I applaud, you know, artists for finding a way through the limitations. And I think that's the thing that's so special about the arts, is people will always find a way to tell stories. Even if you take away the money, even if you take away the theater, even if you take away the audience, artists are going to find a way. And I personally find this time to be really overwhelming emotionally. And I'm not necessarily always in a position where my brain is circumventing the limitations. I'm just kind of like sad. And so the people who are capable of doing that and are still creating art and finding ways to like, you know, make musicals, and like what After Hours Theater Company is doing with Definitely Not Clue, I think is incredible. And it's like, I'm so grateful to those people, because it's almost like they're circumventing all these limitations, which is a new skill set that will be carried into the future of theater, but also they're keeping the love of it alive so people won't forget, you know, like, not that we ever could really, but I don't know, there's something about it that's reminding people like, hey, let's play, you know, and I think that's really special.
Like the creativeness is still out there, the art is still there. It hasn't completely disappeared.
Exactly.
Just because we aren't allowed to be together.
Right. And it's not going to fulfill us in the same way necessarily, but it's maybe fulfilling in a whole new way. And it's life-saving in probably a whole new way too, you know, for people who are really struggling and really missing that entertainment and that live, you know, person sort of in front of you, right? I mean, it's still different than what you see on a TV screen. It's raw in its own way.
What advice would you give to young performers? Which kind of goes along with your younger
self. Don't be so hard on yourself. I mean, like, that's obviously the thing I struggle with, like, so hard. And so it's like, don't be like me. Like, don't be so hard on yourself. Pay attention to the people who came before you. And I would also say, Just keep doing the work. Keep doing the work. Like, you got to love the work. If you don't love the work, it's not going to be for you at the end of the day, because sometimes this career is about doing the work without the gratification of booking the job, or without the gratification of getting to do the show. Sometimes it's about doing work for work's sake. So fall in love with that for yourself, which, I mean, oddly enough, what a great time, because there's no opportunities. So right now, it can be about the work, and you don't feel like, oh, you know, you're not comparing yourself to anybody else. Everybody's in the same position. So this is actually a great opportunity for young people to learn to fall in love with the work, and then for people like me to learn to re-fall in love with it, so that I'm not so hung up on, you know, the booking and the doing, and I learn to re-fall in love with kind of the aloneness part, you know, like, we fall in love with being in a cast and in a crew, and having the best time with all these people and creating and playing, and it hurts so much to miss it right now. But there is a centeredness, and there's work, and there's a passion that exists just within you. And if you have that, like, super solid, I feel like that can carry you through lots of disappointment, or it can carry you through, you know, things that feel unfair, and it can carry you through times where you don't have the work you want yet.
It's a good answer. Okay, so that's a really good answer. Wow. Okay.
Thank you. So, I've thought a lot about this. I have a lot of time in my hands.
Wisdom, all the wisdom. So for more wisdom like that,
yes.
where can people follow you, like, on social media?
On the social media, I am the Amanda Kruger, as in the only one. So THE Amanda Kruger, KRUGER. And then I'm on Facebook as that too, but I don't really post to my Facebook page, and I'm not a tweeter. So it's really just the Instagram.
Thanks for watching this episode of Backstage with Becca B. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Becca B Talks TV. And for exclusive interview footage from this episode and more in the future, you can go to @Backstage with Becca B on Instagram. Bye.